Canada is helping to ensure that the alliance.
Canada is making the biggest defense decision in its modern history. $19 billion, 88 fighter jets, one choice that will lock in Canada's military future for the next 40 years. Officially, Ottawa has committed to the F-35. 16 jets are already on order from the United States, with plans to expand to a full fleet of 88. But here's what's not being said clearly. The F-35 isn't just expensive to buy. It's expensive to own. In Switzerland, a 2022 F-35 deal approved at 5 billion Swiss francs jumped to 8 billion in just 2 years before a single aircraft was delivered. Defense economists call this structured cost escalation, and nearly every F-35 customer has faced it. Cost is only part of the issue. F-35 operators do not fully control their aircraft. Software, mission data, diagnostics, and upgrades all depend on U.S.
controlled systems. That means long-term strategic dependence, not just alliance cooperation. At the same time, a quieter alternative has been circulating in defense circles: 88 Gripen fighters. The number isn't accidental. It mirrors Canada's historic Cold War force size, the last time the country prioritized independent air power. The Gripen model offers lower operating costs, domestic control over upgrades, and freedom from foreign software restrictions.
It trades top-end stealth for sovereignty and sustainability. This is the real question facing Canada. Does national security come from owning the most advanced jet on paper, or from controlling your own air force in practice? Once this decision is finalized, there's no reset button. Canada isn't just buying aircraft, it's choosing dependence or autonomy for the next half-century, and that choice is being made right now. According to reports from the U.S. Government Accountability Office, the F-35's average mission-capable rate sits between 30 and 50%. In plain terms, in a squadron of 10 aircraft, only 3 to 5 are typically ready to fly at any given time. Operating costs make the problem worse. Each F-35 flight hour costs between $35,000 and $47,000. That's a burden even large militaries struggle to sustain long-term, let alone mid-sized nations. This is where Ottawa began to get nervous. Canada controls the largest Arctic airspace on Earth. As climate change opens new shipping routes, the demand for constant patrols is rising fast. A fleet that's operational only half the time cannot reliably protect skies that stretch thousands of kilometers. But cost and readiness aren't the deepest issue. Sovereignty is. When Canada buys the F-35, it doesn't own the aircraft in the traditional sense. The jet's core software is controlled by Lockheed Martin and the US Pentagon. Every upgrade, every weapon integration, every meaningful modification requires American approval. Defense analysts call this conditional sovereignty. You own the metal, but the intelligence, the software, the decision-making authority lives somewhere else. That creates a strategic paradox. Can a country claim political independence while remaining fully dependent on foreign-controlled defense technology? This concern intensified as trade tensions between Canada and the United States escalated. Tariffs on Canadian steel, aluminum, lumber, and automobiles showed how economic leverage can quickly become political pressure. Ottawa began asking whether technological dependence could be used the same way. In 2023, Canada's defense minister publicly questioned the industrial benefits of the F-35 program, noting that most of the contract's value would flow overseas, while Canada's aerospace sector remained marginal. That's when another option moved into focus. The Saab Gripen is not the stealthiest jet, it's not the most powerful, it's not the most expensive, but it offers something the F-35 does not: full technological sovereignty. When a country buys the Gripen, it receives access to the source code. It can integrate its own weapons, modify its own software, and maintain operational control without asking permission. The choice facing Canada isn't about prestige, it's about whether national defense should depend on performance statistics or on who ultimately holds the keys to the system. With the Gripen, Canada keeps control. Upgrades are decided domestically. Weapons can be integrated without foreign approval. Systems can be modified independently. This is sovereign sustainment, owning not just the aircraft, but the authority to operate and evolve it. On performance, the difference is stark. The Gripen's mission-capable rate runs between 80 and 90%, nearly double the F-35's. Operating costs average about $8,000 per flight hour, compared to $35,000 to $47,000 for the F-35. Over a 30-year lifespan, analysts estimate Canada could save $15 to $20 billion by choosing the Gripen. The aircraft is also built for Canada's reality. It operates from 800-meter runways, functions in -40-degree conditions, and needs just 6 technicians to prepare for flight in under an hour. That makes it suited for Arctic bases with limited infrastructure. The issue isn't whether the Gripen outperforms the F-35 on paper. It's whether Canada is willing to resist pressure from its largest ally. That's why the number 88 matters. In 1959, Canada canceled the Avro Aero, one of the most advanced aircraft of its time, under political pressure. 14,000 jobs disappeared, and Canada's aerospace industry collapsed. 88 Gripens, the same number of Arrows originally planned, are seen as a chance to reverse that history. Under Saab's proposal, Canada wouldn't just buy jets. Final assembly would take place domestically. Engine production tied to Rolls-Royce would anchor work in Canada. Around 15,000 jobs would be created across the supply chain. But the real choice isn't about jobs or jets. It's about whether Canada wants to own its Air Force or permanently borrow it. Under the Gripen proposal, Canada wouldn't just buy aircraft, it would build them. With independent upgrade and sustainment rights, Canada could also export Gripens to other countries. Ukraine has expressed interest. Poland has explored the option. Analysts estimate a potential export market of 150 to 200 aircraft. This isn't just a defense purchase, it's a long-term industrial strategy, and that's exactly why there's resistance. In 2017, when Canada publicly explored alternatives to the F-35, the U.S. ambassador to Canada, Pete Hoekstra, issued a blunt warning. Leaving the F-35 program could put NORAD at risk. NORAD is the backbone of U.S.-Canadian air defense. It has operated continuously since the Cold War. The message from Washington was clear: interoperability is non-negotiable. But defense analysts question that claim. Multiple NATO members and close partners operate the Gripen while remaining fully integrated into alliance defense networks. Interoperability isn't the real obstacle. Politics is. Choosing the Gripen would signal that Canada is willing to diversify its strategic dependencies, not rely exclusively on Washington. That message lands hard at a time when U.S. tariffs have hit Canadian cars, steel, aluminum, and lumber. Technology dependence, Ottawa has learned, can become political leverage. Observers argue that a Gripen decision wouldn't just reshape Canada's Air Force, it would mark a shift in how a middle power asserts autonomy in an era where alliances no longer guarantee symmetry. Officially, Canada signed a contract in 2023 for 88 F-35s, but only 16 aircraft were ordered in the first batch. Publicly, it's described as a phased rollout. Strategically, it looks a lot like a hedge. Defense analysts see the first 16 F-35s not as commitment, but as a strategic hedge, a way for Ottawa to keep its options open without breaking contracts. That interpretation gained weight when Saab's CEO and Carl XVI Gustaf made an official visit to Canada. This was not routine diplomacy. They held closed-door meetings with the Prime Minister, the Defense Minister, and leaders from Canada's aerospace sector. No press conferences, no public announcements. But multiple defense sources say a framework was discussed: 88 Gripens, full technology transfer, and a Canadian production chain. If that's accurate, then the 16 F-35s aren't the beginning of a massive purchase, they're insurance. So what happens next?
Canada is at a crossroads. One path is familiar: continued reliance on U.S. technology, full alignment with traditional defense structures, high costs, and limited autonomy. It's the safe option, but it's also the path that ended Canada's last attempt at aerospace independence 65 years ago. The other path is riskier. 88 Gripens, technological sovereignty, rebuilding domestic defense manufacturing, and asserting the role of an independent middle power in the 21st century. There's no perfect choice, only a trade-off between collective security and national control. As Arctic ice melts, shipping routes expand, and trade tensions rise, the real decision isn't about fighter jets. It's about what kind of country Canada intends to be. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, SkyJet Wings.